What's going on, guys? Week 8 of the NFL season is over, and we're here to talk about it. Now, this week was weird. There weren't a whole lot of good games, a lot of blowouts, which was unfortunate. Didn't make for a lot of good watching, but there are some key takeaways here. And I'm going to start off with talking about the Baltimore Ravens. Now, yes, they get the win. They start Huntley for the first time since Lamar Jackson has been injured. And all of a sudden, their offense looked good? What a surprise. What were the Baltimore Ravens doing? They go and get Cooper Rush from the Cowboys, obviously. And while Cooper Rush was a fine backup for the Cowboys, he also relatively played the same play style as Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott isn't super mobile. Lamar Jackson and Cooper Rush, they're not even the same breed. All right, like Lamar Jackson is so athletic compared to Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush couldn't run if his life depended on it. And so Cooper Rush is your backup. That's good, I guess, except for the fact that the offense is completely different. The Baltimore Ravens have looked pathetic over the last couple of games with Cooper Rush in there as their quarterback. And then all of a sudden, they put Huntley in, who has been their backup for years, who has done a good job of keeping the Baltimore Ravens afloat when Lamar Jackson goes out, because he plays very similar to Lamar Jackson. And all of a sudden, he's playing this week, and they get a win, and their offense looks decent. They beat the Chicago Bears 30-16. And while, yes, the Chicago Bears aren't the best team in the NFL, aren't really that good in general, maybe they'll make the playoffs, maybe they won't, but they actually put up 30 points. The last two games combined with Cooper Rush as their quarterback, which he got benched in one of them, a total of 13 points. You're sitting there trying to tell me that Cooper Rush was your best option as a backup quarterback? Clearly not. Clearly not. You see what Huntley did in this game. And to me, this brings into question Harbaugh's ability to coach this football team. Now, personally, I don't think Harbaugh is a great football coach. Personally, I think they should have gotten rid of him earlier. Harbaugh blows leads all the times. He does not know how to coach with a lead. He doesn't, frankly, he's just not good enough to be able to win. And with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, who's winning MVPs, you expect that team to be able to either get to a Super Bowl or at least win a Super Bowl. Instead, they're barely being able to win a single game in the playoffs. And that's not going to change anytime soon. Harbaugh needs to go. And frankly, this Cooper Rush incident is the thing that pushes it over the edge for me. Your team with Lamar Jackson is a playoff team. Your team with Lamar Jackson could potentially make it to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl. And in his absence, instead of putting in a quarterback who's been there for a while, instead of putting in a quarterback that has a similar play style to Lamar Jackson, you put in a guy who hasn't been there, who plays completely differently, and the offense looks awful because that's not how the offense has been built. Huntley has gone 4-6 when starting. Now, that's not great, but that is good enough to keep you guys alive. You guys have been worthless the last 2 games with Cooper Rush as your quarterback. And frankly, that decision right there probably removes the Baltimore Ravens' ability to actually make the playoffs this year. And again, that should cause the Ravens to finally move on from Harbaugh. Now, should they have done that previously? Yes. But come on, this has to be the straw that makes the Ravens decide to move on from Harbaugh. You just ruined this season and ruined a year of Lamar Jackson's career when he's in his prime. What are we doing? Now, granted, your team isn't looking great. You may not have been able to do anything anyway. But as a head football coach in the NFL, you have to have a backup that you feel confident in to be able to go out there and win some games while your quarterback is injured for a little bit. And the fact that they had somebody on the team who does a reasonable job and they just didn't play him because they wanted to play the guy they got from the Cowboys, terrible decision. Could have ruined your season and a season of Lamar Jackson's career. Next, I want to talk about the Bengals. I don't really know what to say about the Bengals other than the fact that you just lost to the Jets. You lost to the Jets in a game in which you had a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. Now, I've actually said this about the Cincinnati Bengals coach for a little while now, and it's the fact that you need to move on from your head coach, because this loss also potentially sealed your season. This was a game that you should not have lost. You're playing against a winless Jet team, a Jet team in which they could barely score for the last bunch of weeks, and you have a 14-point lead against them. I know your defense isn't great, but this is pathetic. And this coach, frankly, needs to go. He does not get the team ready in the beginning of the season. Multiple times, obviously, the Bengals have gone and lost the first bunch of games. And in fact, last year, they didn't make the playoffs because they weren't ready at the beginning of the year. And they barely were this year. And obviously, the Joe Burrow injury doesn't help. And while the reason for the injury is not all the coach's fault, it's because the team wasn't built properly, because the team isn't built to be able to protect Joe Burrow. And their defense isn't great. The offense still was lackluster. And frankly, if you have a compromised offensive line, you need to call different plays. You can't have Joe Burrow in shotgun every single play because the defense is just going to come at you with everything they got, and they're going to keep doing it until Joe Burrow can't do it anymore, until Joe Burrow, frankly, gets injured. And now Joe Flacco, your backup quarterback who's looking, decent, also gets injured in this game. Hopefully he's okay until Joe Burrow's back, and hopefully you can win enough games to where you can survive and potentially make the playoffs. But the Bengals are ruining Joe Burrow's career. Joe Burrow has the ability to win a Super Bowl, has the ability to compete against the Chiefs. And frankly, that team is one of the only teams that can, in my opinion, compete against the Chiefs. I don't think the Bills can. I don't think the Ravens can, at least currently constructed. Maybe if they have a coaching change, maybe if they get some more players in there, yes. But as currently constructed, those teams have shown that they can't win. One team that has shown they can win is the Bengals, and they keep ruining their seasons with poor coaching, with poor roster management, and with poor decisions on how to run your offense. Again, you cannot have Joe Burrow in the shotgun all the time. And to further back this up, I'm going to give you guys some stats. Last year, Joe Burrow was in the shotgun formation 92% of the time. Now, we don't know how big of a difference that is compared to the rest of the league. Maybe 92% isn't all that much. Oh, wait, the league average was 62.3% of the time. And I wonder why Joe Burrow's getting beat up all the time, why Joe Burrow's getting injured. Could it be because they're not afraid of the run? Could it be because they're always passing the ball? Could it be because they're putting themselves in a position where the defensive linemen can just go at Joe Burrow with everything they have? Maybe. Oh, well, maybe that's just one season. Maybe it's just one season. Oh, wait. No, it's not. In 2023, they were in shotgun 80% of the time. Oh, and guess what? He also got injured. And wouldn't you like to know that the rest of the league was around 65% of the time in shotgun? Okay, well, maybe it's just 2 years that they're way above everybody. Oh, wait. No. The year before that, it was 87% of the time they were in shotgun, and the rest of the league was at 65%. The year before that was 80%, and the rest of the league at 65%. They're consistently running shotgun plays more than any other team in the league. And while, yes, they can work, yes, their offense can be deadly with that, it also puts Joe Burrow in a compromised position, especially when your offensive line stinks, which it does. The Bengals' offensive line is awful. So while it's not all on the coach for why the team stinks, their defense isn't good. Not necessarily on the coach. Their offensive line is bad. Not necessarily on the coach. You need the right players. But the coach can be doing different plays. The coach could be putting Joe Burrow in a position where he could be safer instead of always putting him in the shotgun like he is and getting him just beat up every single year. This coach needs to go, not only for the fact that he can't hold a lead, not only for the fact that he's shown that because he wasn't able to against the Rams in the Super Bowl, not only because they start slow, but because he's putting Joe Burrow in a position in which he's going to continue to get injured and ruin Joe Burrow's career. You need to get rid of him. You need to get rid of him. And I'm tired of people saying it's just because the roster isn't built well. No, you can be protecting him better. You need to be protecting him better because Joe Burrow is the reason you're going to win a Super Bowl. Without him, you guys are worthless. Without him, you can't make the playoffs, as you can see this season. Next, we're going to move on to the Steelers. and why they need to get rid of their head coach. No, I'm just kidding. We're actually going to talk about that game, though. The Packers, they go and they beat the Steelers, and everybody is praising Jordan Love. And I'm going to tell you guys to hold your horses currently. If you look at that game, Jordan Love didn't play great. A lot of the plays that they're like, that was great, that was such a huge play, he's just chucking it up and getting lucky that his guys are getting it. Getting lucky that this defense isn't in the right position. Frankly, a lot of the passes, a lot of the big plays against the Steelers should have been intercepted or at least knocked down. Definitely not completed. And we're going to sit here and say if Jordan Love plays like this, the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl? Let's hold our horses right here. I think the Packers can win the Super Bowl, but Jordan Love has to play the quarterback position a lot better than that. Jordan Love cannot be giving that ball up like that. He has to play smarter. He has to play a little bit safer. Yes, you don't want to just completely rein in a quarterback, make them never take any risks, but those risks are really bad, and very few quarterbacks can get away with them. Very few. In fact, none should really, but they do. And Jordan Love has shown that when he does that type of stuff, it gets intercepted. And he got lucky this game that it didn't. If a couple of those plays got intercepted, we would be looking at a much different game. We'd be talking a lot differently. Analysts on ESPN and Fox Sports would not be saying, if Jordan Love plays like this, they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. If Jordan Love plays like that, I guarantee you they're not going to win the Super Bowl. He has to play better. He has to play safer. Now, the Packers team is well built. They right now are the #1 seed in the NFC. They have a great team. The pickup of Micah Parsons is phenomenal for their defense. And boy, the Cowboys, I bet you, are wishing they did not trade him because their defense looks awful. That's a different discussion for a different day. But Jordan Love, you have to play better. You have to play smarter, or you're going to ruin your team's chance of winning a Super Bowl. And Jordan Love and the Packers have something pretty crazy that they can do if they're able to make it to the Super Bowl and win, which is winning with a quarterback in the 6th season with the team, which is frankly a crazy stat. This is so far the best team the Packers have had. They're definitely one of the favorites to make it to the Super Bowl and potentially win it. And if they're able to do it, he would join Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers in winning a Super Bowl with the 6th season with the Packers, which is just a pretty crazy stat. And frankly, it's kind of uncanny. If it does happen, I'm not going to say anything, but maybe we should look into the NFL about some rigging of games, because that seems a little suspicious. But back to reality here. If that does happen, that would just be a crazy, fun stat, and frankly, probably will never happen again, but that would be pretty fun. If the Packers are going to do it, though, Jordan Love, you have to play better. You have to play safer. Guys, that's it for today. Remember to like, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section. I'll be replying. Until next time, keep it real.